Hello, welcome, one and all, to Beyond the Edge. I'm your hostess, Brandy Deutsch.
Hi, welcome. So glad you're here. I'm your co-host, Dee Dee DeMayo.
And this is our premiere show on Edge Radio TV. I couldn't be more excited. So our special guest today is Patrine Soames, world-class psychic. And before we speak with Patrine, I just wanted to check in and find out how you're doing, find out how Dee Dee is doing, and just find out what's going on in the world. So Dee Dee, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm beyond excited as well, and I can't wait to bring information that's going to help everybody find their focus, shine a light on their path, and share interesting information.
Wonderful. So I feel excited. I feel supported. I've got lots of friends and family and people in the audience who are here today to support our first show. That is super exciting to me. I feel so grateful. And I feel a little concerned because there are people in the world right now who are suffering, who are having a hard time with what's going on in the world. So I just want to send them courage and strength and love and let them know that we're here for them. So that's what's going on with us. But with that, I want to introduce our guest, Patrine Soames. So hi, Patrine.
Hey, good morning, ladies. So nice to see you, and a big congratulations on your new show.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We appreciate that, Patrine. So I'm going to introduce you with your bio because it's quite impressive. Patrine was born in the UK, England, and she comes from a long line of psychics and seers and traveled widely before choosing to live in the Woodlands, Texas. For over 40 years, she's been a leading authority in healing, self-awareness, and multidimensional reality. The unique practices and therapies that she has created, along with her amazing insights, drawn from every realm of sciences, human studies, and beyond, have helped countless numbers of people worldwide. Her public radio and TV appearances have helped and inspired millions. A veteran radio and TV talk show guest, both here in the US and Europe, Patrine has dazzled audiences with her incredible powers. So she's a pro at what you're about to see. Patrine is the author of groundbreaking books like Essence of Self-Healing, How to Bring Health and Happiness into Your Life, 50 Ways to Fix Your Life, the workbook, The Process, 21 Days to Transformation, and she's also the creator of Positive Thought Cards and in the online Healing and Psychic Development course. That's a mouthful, Patrine.
It really is. Thank you for reading all that out.
I thought it was a good idea to help people just know what you've accomplished in your life, because it's a lot. And I met Patrine many years ago, about 15 years ago, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, but I want to check in with you. How are you feeling today? How's your heart?
I feel fabulous. I'm very happy, positive. I generally am. I absolutely love life. I could really just keep living forever. For me, the good, the bad, the ugly, one way or another, it's all good.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So, as I mentioned, it's been about 15 years since I've spoken with you. It's been a long time, but you had such a profound impact on my life that I wanted you to be the first guest on our show. And so I would love it if you could tell us a little bit about when you knew that being a psychic was part of your life path.
As a small child, I always knew things, could see things. I was adopted, so I learned to keep much of it to myself. As I got older, of course, everybody else seemed to have a path and knew what they were going to do, and I didn't. So I traveled a great deal, and I've been and lived and traveled in over 35 different countries. During that time, I started doing readings for people. Eventually, I went back to England and I started developing the different things that I do, and it just went on from there.
So can you tell us a little bit about more of what you do, what you developed, and like
Sure.
what age you stepped out in that?
I'm sorry, the last bit.
What age did you start?
I was probably, I mean, early, like 18, 19, 20, like professionally, mid 20s, 25, 26, when that was the only thing that I did. Yeah.
And you developed what other practices?
Okay, what I do a couple of unique therapies. The way I work, first of all, I give people a reading which pinpoints exactly how they are, where they are, what's going on, what the issues are. Then rebirthing, it's connected breathing, reconnecting with yourself, that actual you that is okay and was always okay before you ever lived life and got blocked. And then I work with regression without hypnosis to take you back in time, either in this lifetime, other times, to clear mental patterns, the things that keep making you act possibly negatively or think negatively in the way that you do, that's hard for all of us to get away from. I do something called progression. You can literally go forward in time, a year, 5 years, 10 years, like you can do this and experience the future yourself. I'm also a medium, so on a very regular basis, I connect people with people that have passed on. And it's a very specific thing. Loved ones give me exact information and proof that they exist. And of course, I work with animals and things like that. And, yeah, paranormal is going and maybe clearing properties, seeing what is upsetting in, actual locations. So, yeah, these are pretty much what I do.
Wow. Okay, Brandy. So tell us more about how you got hooked up with Patrine.
Well, thank you so much for that synopsis of what you offer. I actually chose to do a rebirthing with you. And I remember hearing you on the radio. That was 18 years ago. And I heard you. When I heard your voice, I said, that woman can help me. I didn't know how I knew, but I knew. And then I went on your website and I saw that you did these different modalities. You did the progression, the regression, and the rebirthing really called to me. So I decided to do a rebirthing with you. And I have to speak to my experience as if it's something that really changed my life, because it really did. In the rebirthing, what I experienced, first of all, I wanted to do it because I knew I had anger. I was young. I was like 25, and I had a lot of anger about my parents, my situation. I felt like I was a victim, and I didn't want to feel that, and I didn't want to pass that to my children. Somehow I knew that if I kept that inside of me, it would be transmuted or given in some way to my kids, and I didn't want that. So when I did the rebirthing, what I experienced was the energy that was inside my body moved to my hands and my feet, and it would not, my hands and feet just became immobile. I couldn't move them until I started weeping. And I wept and I wept and I wept. And I wept like I hadn't wept in 25 years. So it was profound. It was this profound release. And I've actually heard people say, I'm afraid to cry because I may not stop.
Yes, it makes me think of a scene from The Wizard of Oz where the scarecrow is just torn apart and his pieces are everywhere, and he didn't even know what happened. It was just this attack, and it tore him apart. So I think people relate to that about crying or sharing their emotions.
Yeah, so Patrine, what happens when emotions build up and we don't release them? What happens inside the body, the vessel?
I mean, we definitely get sick. We can get sick physically, emotionally, mentally. Um, we can cause accidents to ourselves and to others. There's all kinds of, not necessarily good things that happen. Besides, we can shape the reality of our children and other people. And also, we stop creating. We might try to make things happen, and nothing happens. Everything is stuck.
So, Patrine, you and Brandy both referenced something being passed to the children. Do you think that that is what people refer to as generational curses or a genetic lineage of negative energy being passed along?
I don't know about that. I don't know if I'd give it any of those names. What I would say, my first book, The Essence of Self-Healing, I wrote it because I've been in the States about 24 years. When I first came, I was absolutely amazed at the healthcare, how everybody was getting ill, expected to get ill, and being ill was kind of normal. And especially as you aged and the amount of medication and things. And I did some research and I realized that there was a thing called the hereditary factor, which people actually believe. But looking back, doing some research, it was actually an unproven hypothesis. And yet we've taken it as absolutely solid and gospel. When I look at people, your grandmother might have the same kind of cancer, your mother, etc. What this really means is families have similar issues that they haven't realized, figured out, dealt with, healed, let go.
So tell us about your experience with rebirthing.
Yes, so it was an incredible experience. I recommend it for anybody who's dealing with anger or old issues, for sure. And the rebirthing itself was incredible. I was also very interested in the progression. After I finished my rebirthing, Patrine looked at me and said, okay, so look to the future. What do you see? And the first thing that I said that I saw was, it wasn't good. It was really bad. I was like, nothing's here. Everybody's dead. It was sad. I was scared when I saw that. And Patrine goes, not that far in the future. So that was rather strange. But what she did do is she really gave me a sense of feeling safe in that space of healing. And that's how I knew I could trust her. So we have to take a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about the essence of self-healing. I'm super excited. I have the book. I want to talk about it a little bit because it exemplifies what we're going to do here on our show on an ongoing basis. It's absolutely perfect. So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
We work our whole lives to support our families. With one accident or illness, it can all be gone in an instant. Now there's a smart, affordable way to protect your family. Go to findhealthbenefits.com and discover low-cost life insurance for as little as $2 per month. Add to that a tax-deferred annuity that can help you protect your assets and grow your money for retirement. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com. or call 877-235-6094. A critical illness can strike without warning and wipe out your life savings. In fact, it's the #1 reason for bankruptcy. Find Health Benefits offers an affordable solution. Get up to $50,000 if you get cancer, stroke, or a heart attack. giving you the peace of mind to focus on getting better while the plan helps you to pay your bills and medical expenses. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. 66% of seniors spend more time shopping for cable TV than Medicare plans. Most say because it's just too confusing. Laws change every year. The wrong plan could cost you thousands and prevent you from seeing the doctors you want. Introducing FindHealthBenefits.com. Save time, save money, see specialists without referrals. Go to FindHealthBenefits.com or call 877-235-6094 for this informative brochure.
Society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio. Because truth still matters.
Hi, we're back to Beyond the Edge, and our special guest today is Patrine Soames. She's a world-class psychic. And Patrine, you have written several books. The Process, 21 Days of Transformation, 50 Ways to Fix Your Life, a workbook, and The Essence of Self-Healing, How to Bring Health and Happiness into Your Life. That's the one I want to talk about today. And so you wrote this book in 2000, and yet all of it is still relevant today. What made you write this book?
Well, I actually never wanted to write a book. I avoided it for a very long time. And then my ex-husband, Fabrice, he was French, he kept telling me, you've got to write a book. So eventually I did. I was so glad that I did. I'm so very glad that I did. And now really I could write 100 books. There's just other things to do. But yes, and you're right. It's still as relevant today as it was back then. It always will be. That's why it's called The Essence.
Wonderful.
You know, I wanted to say, because the year 2000, everybody anticipated so many things negative happen, but yet during that year, you wrote something that was about healing and bringing light. This year, with 2020, about the clear vision, but things happening so negative in a lot of people's minds, we're again ushering in a new year, 2021, the 5, and we're sharing information that's going to be about change.
I mean, when we look at good and bad, black and white, positive and negative, it's always important to understand that you can't have one without the other. And things are never all bad. And it's a matter often of stepping back and looking at the bigger picture.
Yes.
And also, we need to know nothing is ever only as it seems.
Absolutely. So with that, I want to read a little excerpt from your book, and this section is called No More Pain. When we say no more pain as individuals, we also say no more pain in our relationships, our family, and our world. As long as we continue to accept pain in our reality, we perpetuate pain in our lives and our world. I challenge the idea that you cannot have one without the other. The idea that you must have light and dark, good and bad, is not so, because energy, the all that is, or whatever you prefer to call it, is without form and without expression or judgment. Anyone who has taken the time to sit still or meditate and look and feel at the all that is will know this. The all that is can be whatever we choose it to be, from its initial point of formlessness and nothingness. Okay, that's a lot. So I'm going to take a breath on that. Can you expound on that?
Good question. Let me see. Can I expound on that? We've all been told and led to believe that we can't have something for nothing, that if it's worth having, it's going to be hard and it's going to be difficult. And yet the thing is, we are literally creating our reality moment by moment by what we think and what we feel. So do it differently. It doesn't have to be that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was just going to say, your point about creating reality, a lot of people would not think of that as being accurate or true. But in having you say that, I think I'd like to share the very fact that we're sitting here about choices. So making the choice to accept or change or create, it is absolutely creating the reality.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, that was wonderful. You're right. It's so true.
I love that you start from that place of formlessness and nothingness, and you say from that point you can create whatever you want. It does not have to be that duality in this world. What Dee Dee was saying earlier about the 2020 being a clear vision, I think it's also of knowing that we can create whatever kind of world we want. And if we're choosing a world that is based in love and compassion and nonviolence, it can come to fruition with enough people who agree that that's what we want. Do you find that might be true?
It's always been that way, and it always will be. So no matter how dark or hopeless it might seem, I always say to people, there's your world and then there's the world.
Right.
So make your world as great as you can and it will spill over.
Yes, I always tell people, they reference to, the end times and things like that. The end times for me is every time I close my eyes and wake up and start a new day. That time has changed. So what I want to create going forward. So even without a large group of people being in agreement with me, my world is what I create and the energy I let into it. So that's the practical application of people being able to do that.
Well, thank you, Dee Dee. Okay, great. The next thing I want to talk about in your book might be a little controversial. But we're gonna
we love controversy in
we're gonna dive in. Let's do it. Okay, so this section of your book is called Touch. There is overwhelming evidence that as humans, we need touch in our lives. We thrive with touch and we become unbalanced without it. The studies about the damaging and harmful effects of touch deprivation are numerous. Enough research has been done over the years to determine that infants, children, adolescents, adults, and seniors need touch, and that the benefits of touch in our lives are quite substantial. And then you go on to list some examples of that. So right now, we're being asked by people in government and health agencies to distance ourselves from each other. And I'm not in agreement. Based on what you said in your book and other scientific studies that I've seen, touch is crucial for our survival and our thriving. Would you agree with that?
This is what I would say. Yes, touch is absolutely crucial. These days, people, I don't mean now with the pandemic, but generally, people are hugging, touching each other a lot more and realizing this. Obviously, right now, with the current situation, if we can't hug each other, we have to hug ourselves. There are still people out there that literally don't touch themselves. I mean, here's an opportunity to even explore that thought.
That's very interesting because there are a lot of people so afraid due to what's happening in our world today to accept hugs and never even thought about hugging themselves. You know, just that embrace and taking the time, even if it's just doing a facial or anything, can be self-touch, self-nurturing.
Touch is so important, whether it be touching yourself, and you know, there's physical touch and there's actually emotional touch, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
So there's also that that possibility that we can still touch each other. As we know, energy is not bound by time and space. So we can touch someone with our energy in a way that helps them feel connected to other people. I think that's also a grand concept that a lot of people are not aware of. So bringing that also into our mindset and our ways of speaking and talking as we connect with others is also, it can be very helpful for our world as we continue into this next chapter. What do you think about that?
I think that's so true. We can send each other a scene from a movie, a beautiful piece of music, a picture of a flower. What we can also do is say, I can see you. I can see who you are. In my career, I think one of the most wonderful, profound part of what I do is when I look at somebody, describe who and how they are, and people sometimes literally fall apart with joy and relief, because it's so wonderful to touch people, to be touched in that way, to be seen and recognized.
I agree. Yesterday, something, a simple example was going to the grocery store, and I had the pickup delivery, and normally somebody will say, hi, how are you? And we become so busy and focused on just what we're needing to do, we forget to say, how are you too? And actually give a person a chance to answer and listen. That's very important touch.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks, Dee Dee. So, we have a couple more minutes. I wanted to, before we go to commercial break, I want to address one more thing that you talk about in your book, and you speak about chakras. And I love working with chakras. I've done it since I've come into awareness about chakras. And for those of you who don't know what the chakra system is, first it's energy centers in the body, in the energy body. And it's kind of like energy anatomy. As we would have physical anatomy, we also have energy anatomy. And I'm going to ask Patrine to expound on her definition of chakras, because I think she has a very very different perspective about chakras. Would you be willing to talk about that.
Do I? I'm curious what my different perspective is. But anyway,
I want to hear that too.
really, I didn't realize I did. I keep it very, very simple for people when I'm helping them to learn healing or develop their own abilities. I have like chakra at the top of your head, your forehead, your throat, your chest, your stomach, and maybe one at the back of your spine, base of your spine. And all these are different colors. I do a little exercise. I ask people, where are you in your body most now? Out of any one of those places, where are you coming from right now? And if most people will say, well, I'm in my throat, or I'm in my stomach, or I'm in my forehead. If you can't feel it, I tell people rub all of those places just for a moment. And after you've finished, which one can you still feel? And then I ask them, how is it there in that place? And it can be any number of different ways. And then we can start work to clear that specific center.
Thank you, Patrine. That's perfect. So we do have to go to another commercial break for in just a moment. I do want to continue the conversation about chakras, because I think that the more we have these conversations about things that we don't think of on a regular basis, the more we bring them into our awareness. And I feel like it's important for people to know what energy is, what it's about, to know that their thoughts are energy and that their feelings are energy, and that where those go can affect the physical body, can affect the world. So I want to continue that conversation in just a moment. But Dee Dee, tell me.
Yes.
If you could say where your energy goes the most, where would it be?
As far as experiencing pain or joy, or what are you asking?
Any kind of energy, where like where do you feel it the most in your body?
I actually experience a lot of the mental level. It stays there. It's like it constantly doesn't slow down or be quiet. So it's there.
Okay, excellent. We're going to talk about that some more when we come back
Yes.
with Patrine.
Are you a small business owner concerned about the downturn in the economy? Top business leaders like Mattress Mac and Warren Buffett will tell you that now is the time to promote your business more than ever. People need your services. Your business needs an edge. Learn about special advertising packages for small businesses right here on Edge Radio. Find out more, give us a call at 281-744-0446. That's 281-744-0446. Edge, because truth still matters.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Don't push me because I'm close to the edge.
I'm trying not to lose my head.
Hey, this is the Talk About Unity show where I bring the talk.
And I bring the unity.
And together we talk about unity.
unity.
Unity is what matters.
Come on.
And right now in our country, that's what we've got to do. So we do that here at Talk About Unity on the Edge Radio Network. Be with us every week.
It's going to be awesome. It always is. And I tell you what, the more we seek first to understand, then be understood, we make progress.
And we like to do that. And that's why everybody's on the brink. We love what we do at Edge Radio because everybody's on the edge. We bring them back from the edge and we bring the unity. So we're just Glad Edge Radio Network every Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. Talk about unity, because here at Edge Radio Network, truth still matters.
The Natural Nation Network is really about taking control of your health physically, spiritually, emotionally, even intellectually, because there's so much out there in misinformation. There's a lot of people now that are suffering from all sorts of diseases that they really wouldn't have to suffer for if they had better information. And that's what we're here to do. Provide information that can save lives.
The mind and the body are totally connected.
Health can be really serious, and sometimes we just have to lighten it up a little bit while we're still providing substantive information.
And my sort of mantra on the salsa dance floor is kind of similar. I tell somebody, if you make a mistake twice, it becomes a move. Okay?
Tune into Natural Nation every Tuesday at 11 a.m.
Hi, we're back with Beyond the Edge, and we're here with Patrine Soames, world-class psychic. And we've been talking about chakras. And I'm going to say again, chakra is part of an energy system of the body, and at times can affect the physical body. And we probably didn't anticipate going this deep into chakras, but we're kind of just glazing over what it's about so that we have these conversations. They're about energy and how we can go through different systems to help heal the mind, heal the body, heal the emotions. And I want to ask you a little bit more about that, Patrine. When I went to see you, say 18 years ago, you talked to me about the colors of chakras. You talked about colors in your environment, and I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about that and what part does colors play in our lives and in our healing. Would you be willing to talk about that?
Of course. I'm willing to talk about anything. Yes, most definitely. Okay, colors. I love color. I've never agreed with the idea that your crown chakra is this color or your solar plexus chakra is this color. I don't believe that things are fixed. I can see that they change literally from moment to moment. Certain colors bring us certain things. We might have colors that we dislike. If you really dislike a color, ask yourself simply, how does it make me feel? What does it bring? And then you might want to look into that. If there's a certain color that you absolutely love, ask yourself, what does that bring? How does that make me feel? Yeah, colors are huge. They are vibrations. There's a huge difference between the different shades of the same color. Everything is about a vibration.
I was going to say, I fully agree with that. It took me 3 hours to answer my children's question about what my favorite color was right now, because I've never really narrowed it down to just one. I had to think about what shade, what color, what vibration I wanted to bring in. So, yes.
Can color change our feeling, our mood, or our perception?
Most definitely. I guess I first got into colours. I was in my very early 20s and I lived in London in England, where it's always grey and raining and damp in the winter. So everywhere I lived there, I started painting it bright yellow. And I realized that that made an absolute huge difference to how I felt. These days, people recognize that not having light, not having color, it's an actual syndrome, SAD, and you can get color lamps. But of course, we can all play with colors, add colors to our lives, see what they bring us.
Fantastic. I love that. I like your approach to healing in that it's simple. Keep it simple. I think that when we complicate things, it makes it confusing and hard to understand. And our minds are so good at complicating things. So when you talk about making things simple, I think it really can be impactful for people who think, oh, well, I gotta do this and that to help myself. But when you talk about making things simple, like just change the color of your room if you want to feel better, I think that's very helpful. I think people find that very useful. So speaking about feeling and emotion, I remember you did a reading for me once and you said, so I see you moping around the house and not feeling good about yourself. And you said, I see a tremendous amount of guilt around you. And you said, guilt is a useless emotion. I said, really? So why do we have it? You said, I don't know. Why do you have it? And that was very impactful for me because you just took something I thought was universal and you handed it back to me and he said, this is your stuff, girl. And I really appreciate that. So I want to ask you a little bit more about that. When people have these feelings of guilt, anger, remorse, I don't want to call them negative feelings because I think some of them may have a purpose for a period of time. At what point and by what means, we talked about color being one, can they change that?
Good question. Very good question. First of all, we have guilt, we have regret, we have remorse, we have doubt, because we don't have all of the information that we need. It's really that simple. There's no such thing as a mistake. The perfection of everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, is absolutely mind-blowing. But when you're feeling it in a specific way or only seeing it in a specific way, we tend to get stuck on that. And I guess this is where I come in, and people like myself come in to show you what else, the bigger picture, so that you can realize, understand, accept, let go, and move on.
Would you say then, just like we talked about earlier, creating the reality or future, we have to learn that we created that past in order to move from that lockdown emotion?
Of course, but also to understand that it's okay. You were who you were then.
Yes.
There's literally no way that it could have been any different than it was. And to accept that, embrace that, stop beating yourself up.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you for that answer. I think it's really enlightening. So, when you do a regression with someone, or rebirthing or progression, what do you think is the motivation for coming to you? I mean, I can imagine they might be feeling tired and done with parts of their life. What do you hear from your clients? Like, why would they come see you for one of those services?
First of all, you have the people that are absolutely desperate. They are sick on some level. They realize, or they're depressed. Depression is a good example.
Yes.
We are, each and every one of us, awesome. We are awesome and amazing. And we are supposed to be having a fabulous life. And maybe we're not. And we're trying so hard. We read all the books, we did everything, and yet it's still not working. So we seek out real help. Sometimes there are people that come that have it all and they should be so happy, and yet they're not. Something is missing. I mean, that's just a couple of reasons.
So I was thinking about the coming for you to get that point where you can move forward. Would you be able to help someone understand that regression in learning about your past, or even people that are in your life's past, would help you be able to move forward and release the fear around that? Because some people have deja vu or think they remember past lives, but they're afraid to see it, afraid to know who they are. So can you help remove the fear around that?
Most definitely, that is what I do. Regression can be many, many different things, going back to yesterday, going back to a year, going 100 years. So there's many, many different applications. At the same time, just childhood, just going to the way we were brought up, our reaction to our parents, how they were, the stuff that they had. The deja vu, that's an interesting thing, because what most people don't realize, and my big point is awareness. Awareness is the key to all things. And deja vu shows you very clearly that each one of us is here in this moment, in the past, in the future, and a million other places, all at the same moment.
I really got goosebumps over that. So it's like big revelation in how to explain that.
That was perfect. Thank you, Patrine. We have to take one more commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to ask Patrine to do a reading for someone, if she's willing. And that's going to be exciting, because then you get to see what a reading is like. So thank you so much, Patrine.
I'll come back.
Are you a small business owner concerned about the downturn in the economy? Top business leaders like Mattress Mac and Warren Buffett will tell you that now is the time to promote your business more than ever. People need your services. Your business needs an edge. Learn about special advertising packages for small businesses right here on Edge Radio. Find out more, give us a call at 281-744-0446. That's 281-744-0446. Edge, because truth still matters.
Hey, we're back to Beyond the Edge.
Welcome.
This is Brandy, and we're talking with Patrine Soames, world-class psychic, and she has humbly agreed to do a reading for Dee Dee. So, Patrine, we were talking about readings and some of your other services that you provide. Do most people come to you for a psychic reading?
Yes, that's where most people start. And you know, I work nationally, internationally, always have done. So a telephone session is every bit as good as in person. And right now, that's the only way that I'm working. I just need a photograph of the person. But that's where we normally start, yes.
Perfect. So anywhere in the world, anyone who wants to have a reading with you can do so online or over the phone.
Yes.
Excellent. So are you ready, Dee Dee?
I am ready.
Okay.
And it's good to meet you and have you delve off into my life.
Yes, thank you. That's very sweet. So first of all, I normally just look at people and just kind of see how I see you. That's kind of where I start. So obviously I'm, not going to talk to you personally, but first of all, I mean, I can see that you're a wonderful person, a very kind person, very giving. Around your head, it's like you have flowers, like many, many, many different flowers, like a garland. My scent, and they're all different colors and they're like wildflowers. I mean, my sense about all of that, this is definitely the future. It's like where you're going. It's very colorful, very magical, kind of very nice. But the top part of your body and the bottom is very separated. When I go below your navel, that kind of area, there's a bit of a block there. It happened a long time ago. It's an emotional one. When you were about 48 years old, that was definitely a big shift, a time of change in some way. There might have been a sense of loss, might have been shocking and painful. You've done work on that. You've moved on from that, but it's still there. And this is a great reason to kind of do a rebirthing and shift that, because it also goes around your lower back, which you might actually feel discomfort at times. Many times people say, oh yeah, I know about that, I worked on that, but if it's still there, it's still there.
I can tell you that you're spot on, and I'm going to have to contact you to finish working on that. And I don't want to cry, but it's very profound, and it hasn't obviously shifted because it's one area of change or desire is blocked. And I know you hit it spot on.
Wonderful. And as you said before, Patrine, knowing is a big part. The awareness is a big part of moving forward. I'm of the generation of G.I. Joe, it's ingrained in my brain. It's a cartoon that used to play, and they'd say knowing is half the battle. And so I would think the other half is doing the work, right?
Again, let's not think of it as work. Let's think of it as a joy, because it really, really is. I want everyone to try and remember that. The good, the bad, the ugly, it is all absolutely brilliant. And if you're not feeling this, your pain, your fear, your anger are in the way. And there's help. I'm here, other people are here. We can get through this.
Well, I'd like to say what you pointed out was it's not fear or anger. It's just I don't understand why it's there.
And
Wonderful. That's perfect.
Right,
Go
can
ahead.
I just answer that? Because I didn't say that, and that was the last bit that I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was going to say what you need is answers, because even though you moved, you were still a little confounded. You accepted the answers you got, but it wasn't enough, and it still
Right.
isn't.
Absolutely perfect. Thank you so much, Patrine. You've been an amazing first guest. I'm sure you would be an amazing guest no matter what time or when you came on. We'd love to have you again on the show. And Dee Dee, thank you for being a wonderful co-hostess and example for everybody
Thank you.
watching. I really appreciate all of you. So, Patrine, with that, we're going to be closing up for our first show. Thank you again. I'm so, so grateful for you, for what you do for people, for what you've done here today. You are a shining star, and you are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. So, I want you guys to join us next week, same perfect time, same perfect platform. We're going to have special guest Kevin Jenkins. He is CEO of Urban Global Health Alliance, and we'll be talking about medical freedom and transhumanism. You don't want to miss that episode. So thank you all for being here today, our studio audience.
Thank you.
And for those listening, you those of you who are watching, thank you for being here. We salute all of you. Namaste.
Thank you. Blessings.